Welcome to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forge. I'm Rebecca Monet, CEO and Chief Scientist at Zoracle Profiles. I'm here with my friend and co-host, community advocate, speaker, author, and entrepreneur, Tracy Kawa. So, Tracy, we've already had a pre-show conversation with Christina Collins, but we get to dig in more deep in this interview. Christina Collins is the founder, owner, franchisor, and CEO of NeverStopMoving365. She has a master's in sports science from United States Sports Academy and is a former health and physical education teacher. Christina is a vegetarian, boy mom times two, wife of a firefighter, and an ultra endurance athlete. She's currently conquering a doctoral program in educational leadership while advocating for expanding movement mandates and youth physical activity guidelines. Christina also enjoys teaching as a professor in the MAT physical education program at Manhattanville University. I'm so excited you're here, Christina. Thank you for rescheduling a couple times while I took a crazy trip. We really look forward to this interview with you.
Thank you so much. As an avid listener of the podcast, it's a total dream come true to be on here as a guest.
Aw, that's touching. That's nice. So it's funny, Rebecca, I heard in Christina's bio, I heard you say that she's a former teacher, a health and education I don't think you're ever going to be a former health and education specialist, Christina. What I want to know is, where did this passion come from? I looked on your LinkedIn profile and you started in health and education and it's only gone up from there. So where did it all begin?
Was positively impacted by my health and phys ed teacher growing up. And I knew that I wanted to have that same impact on children. So from a very young age, having such positive experiences with sports and fitness. Shout out to my parents who signed me up for everything because I was a high energy kid. I had such positive experiences that I too wanted to be able to provide that opportunity for children.
Beautiful.
I like what you're saying here about part of what had you continue this path is the positive association that you had with it. What about kids that don't? Maybe they're not wired to play on a team or play soccer. Tell me more about your thoughts on that, because I'm seeing more and more challenges in that area.
You know, Rebecca, that's truly what caused this business to begin. I had parents call me, some would be crying, and I was their child's phys ed teacher, and they would love my class. But the parents said that their kids would be kicking and screaming. They'd have to drag them to get them the shin guards on for soccer practice. And they said, you know, what are you doing in your class? And can you come personal train my kid? And that's how kids personal training and NeverStopMoving365 came to be. So it's grown beyond my wildest dreams because exactly what you pointed out, not every child, in fact, in our phys ed classes, a small percentage love the team sport atmosphere with the crowd and the scoreboard and the pressure and the stats. And truly, those kids who want to play lacrosse or baseball, there are tons of opportunities for them to do exactly that and get physical opportunities beyond the school day. But what about the rest of about 80% who don't have that internal drive to perform in front of peers and have a win-loss judgment opportunity? They do also, especially their parents, definitely want them to be physically active. But what is the opportunity if you don't want a team sport? So NeverStopMoving365 provides kids personal training.
That's a really good point. It made me think about when my son was younger. He really wasn't a team sport player. I did have to drag him kicking and screaming. At some point, I gave up. But I remember one-on-one, he would do really well. So what message would you give to parents right now in this day and age?
Yeah, I would just recommend that parents continue to do everything they can to provide opportunities that do allow their child to make a positive association with moving their body. So for some children, it might be the town rec team sports like baseball, soccer, but for most, it might be swimming or dance or rock climbing or karate, right? It might be us at Never Stop Moving 365 because we do meet the mover where they are and where they feel most safe and comfortable, which is their backyard or their playroom. And we do provide that one-on-one rapport and engagement. And, truthfully, when I would get that call from the parent and I would work with that child, what it would take me from September to Christmas break to have an impact on that child, I could achieve that in one 45-minute session when that child is one-on-one with me and they feel most comfortable and safe.
I would think also, Christina, there's this benefit of building confidence in themselves. There's a direct correlation to body movement and the brain and how we feel about ourselves. Can you address that for us?
Yeah, I'm so grateful you highlighted that. That's exactly what we're trying to do through inclusive physical activity opportunities is have each child develop confidence through sport and through fitness. So while I did love team sports and I did personally play sports to earn my health and phys ed degree at the collegiate level, I don't engage in that team sport anymore as my primary form of fitness, but I pull from that mindset, from that confidence every single day. And that's what we do throughout all of our movement programming at Never Stop Moving 365 is we use the sport and fitness as a vehicle to teach, to take risks and to try something new and to develop grit and to build their confidence within themselves.
You said something that that really landed for me. You said making children feel safe. And what's interesting is there's this whole concept of psychological safety in the workplace. But what is psychological safety in team sports or in moving your body? Like, what is that? And how is it that we need to create that safe space for children?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that ties to who is the coach and what are the qualifications of the person who is leading that sport experience, because some programs it is a volunteer parent who might have the best intentions but definitely doesn't have the qualifications of youth movement specialists who go to school for how to motivate a child and how the sports psychology behind that, so that they do have this intrinsic desire to live a physically literate lifestyle versus perform to get a goal, score a basket, win an isolated competition.
So true. I think about my granddaughters, and both of them love team sports, but then I have one that absolutely does not. He's more reserved, right? Um, and pushing him into situations that were uncomfortable for him. I'm thinking, what age group do you work with primarily? Let me start there, and then I want to ask a secondary question to that.
Sure. So our primary ages are ages 3 to 13. However, depending on the goal of the parent, so swim lessons do start as young as 6 months. And we have a lot of teens and tweens that used to play sports when they were in grade school, but then in middle school, when they are going through puberty and different changes, they engage in the kids' personal training.
That's the point I was going to make, because I think especially for those going through puberty and young girls in particular, their bodies are changing so dramatically, and the brain chemistry and the hormones and all of these things are becoming more self-conscious and more body aware than when they were younger. And that could have a positive effect, or it could have a detrimental effect. So what are some recommendations that you have for parents and kids that are in that puberty age and how they can stay physically active?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And a lot of times, unfortunately, in addition to the changes that they are going through, physical and mental through puberty, that can be when they don't make their modified sports teams and they get cut. And then they start to develop that that identity of I'm not an athlete. And so then they treat their body that way. They don't, their sleep changes, their nutrition changes. And so what I would recommend to families who have teens and tweens that age, it would be to, maybe since a lot of that age is very into digital leisure, right? They're on cell phones or tablets, utilize technology as a way for that child to still have physical opportunities. There's a plethora of apps and YouTube videos that can still get them moving and still, get all of the certain dopamine and neurotransmitters to release around being physically active. And then that child doesn't have to do it on display in front of 30 kids in a phys ed class or just on a team.
Can you talk a little more to what you're seeing in the realm of video games in this modern society with children? And, it seems like they're becoming more sedentary.
Yeah, so the iPad came out in 2010. So we're actually just now in 2025 receiving the research of the first cohort of children that really grew up with, and for some on, these devices. Times have significantly changed. There's more dual income families working now than ever, and certain families do choose to rely on devices out of a necessity as like almost a form of a babysitter occupying the child. So we do see statistically children are learning to be sedentary at a younger age because they're being given a device and they're becoming passive receivers of entertainment as opposed to creating, I grew up going and riding bikes after school. Other people grew up playing their neighborhood pickup games for various sports. And even if it was just engaging in dramatic play, right, and that generating of what are you physically capable of and mentally capable of, as opposed to today's youth are growing up just receiving entertainment.
And that's exactly what it is. It's a form of entertainment. At Zorkel, we're noticing a couple of things with some of these younger generations. One is they're not as competitive as generations before. And of course, I'm concerned at Zorkel about how that's going to apply to business if someone is not as competitive. And secondly, they're lacking problem solving and creativity skills, which again is a concern for us for franchisors. So what you are doing on a one-to-one with these children, how do you stimulate their creativity? How do you have them problem solve or get through a difficult exercise program or push themselves?
I love that question. So at NeverStopMoving365, we talk to every parent before we educate their child. So we learn about their child. We're not just asking for their movement resume of sports. We want to know, is their favorite video games Roblox or Fortnite? Do they have favorite movies or music we can put on our playlist for their session? So we make it a very custom and creative, engaging session. But while we're there, we are running obstacle courses and tag games and circuits. They don't even realize all of the exercise, the squats and the planks that they're doing. However, we're constantly developing that character to build their confidence. So if one part of the circuit, they do an underhand toss towards a target and they don't make it, they celebrate that they fail. And we say, that's great. They cheer. We all cheer when they fail. They know to cheer when they fail because we treat failure as FAIL, first attempt in learning. What did you learn? It was short from the target. So what did you learn? I didn't throw it hard enough. Then they do it again. I go, great job failing. They do it again. And then it went too far. They failed. I said, yes, you failed. We high five. And then what did you learn? I learned I threw it too far. Okay. And they will eventually get it. But what that's teaching is that they are learning from their mistakes. You learn through failure. Failure is not the destination. It's not the end. I failed so many times in the business. Rebecca, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be on this podcast if I didn't understand the importance of failing. That's great. Failing means if they fail on a push, that's great. You're pushing the envelope. That you're exceeding your capacity. That is so great. And so when the exercises are difficult, through if they have multiple sessions, because we do have an app built out, it's very easy for parents to go on. They book the day and time that they want, or they book a specific category session that they want. And so we are able to chart and show the child, when we first started earlier in the month, you could only do 2, and now you could do 5 because you can do anything. Our whole slogan is that you are limitless. That's what we're teaching children. Sports and movement, that's our vehicle to do so, but it's so that children have the confidence to understand truly how much control they have in their ability to exemplify what you're looking for on your Zorical profiles, Rebecca. That grit, that problem solving, that creativity, that's all you. And we help foster that in children.
So I know Tracy has a question, but I got to highlight something, and then you can go to your question, Tracy. One of the things you really highlighted and got energetic about is this idea of encouraging failure. And that's another thing we're noticing with Zoracle is younger people having an issue around taking risk, a fear of being embarrassed, a fear of failure, etc. So by just encouraging taking that risk, pushing yourself, failing at it, rewarding it, getting feedback, doing it again, we're building that muscle to take risks in other areas of our lives by doing it through a physical thing. So I just wanted to highlight that is brilliant what you are doing, Christina. And Tracy, sorry, go ahead.
No, that's great. I just, it's funny, you always, Rebecca, when I have a burning question, and
I know, I can tell.
Like, I don't know what to add, right? So the question that I have for you is that, Christina, you are so high energy, and it sounds like the parents want Christina and they can't get enough of Christina. How do you scale a business like this where you are the business?
Yeah. So, when I first started, it was just me. I maxed out my time for trade so quickly. I called all of my phys ed friends, hired them. They maxed out their time for trade. And that's when I knew that I could teach other people how to do exactly what I'm doing. And so I studied the franchise model and self-franchised it, so that I can partner now, because I know this business in a box, right? And PE teachers and other sport entrepreneurs and educator entrepreneurs, they know their community. And then we partner together to bring these services to their community. And so we do mentor them and teach them how to be a CEO, and how to, because you can only be in one place at one time. And so many children want this, and parents desire this for their child. And the calls that we get, of after dinner, a teen or a tween ask their parents to go for a walk. I mean, the parents are crying on the phone. They're so happy with the impact, or for a swim, a child fell in the pool and they knew how to float and they knew how to climb out, and they're a toddler. They can't even write, but they have the skills that we are imparting on them. They get to carry those for a lifetime. So it's not so much about Christina Collins and all the people Christina can serve. We're teaching how to be able to scale and duplicate, because that's what, we all know the staggering childhood obesity stats. That's what we need to all come together on addressing, and having this solution in your community. So it's not just team sports and perform in front of peers. It can be this on-demand one-on-one, even just because families, it's hard to sign up for a season. It was like 12 Mondays at 5:00. This is just on demand when they need. They book right on the app, and it's very convenient because we go to them. We do bring all of the equipment, so we can introduce the child to a lot. They might like hacky sack or lacrosse or all these variety of tools we have in our bag of tricks.
Are most of your CEOs, or most of your business owners, owner operators? Like, they also train the kids too, and they run the business?
Correct. And I think that's because we are, while the problem, right, to stay within the realm of your podcast, while the problem is childhood obesity, the passion, we are all so passionate. It is definitely hard to give up. So yes, we are all owner operators predominantly.
And that would make sense in this type of business for sure. So incredible confidence that you have, and let's use the word grit, right? A lot of grittiness that you've had all through your life. How has this grit benefited you now with this next big challenge, which is to build a franchise organization? Tell us a little bit more about that.
Sure. So grit, which I got from my involvement in physical activity, grit serves me every single day. I'm constantly reaching to that toolkit. And with being a franchisor, you fail a lot and you don't see immediate results. So you have to be okay with delayed gratification. And that's something that I'm sure your Zoracle profiles show, but we're working on developing in children where, especially Tracy, due to the iPads, they get instant gratification often and frequently. So grit has also really made me humble in the sense that when you become a franchisor, now I'm in this franchise business where there's a lot I don't know. And worse, Rebecca and Tracy, I don't know what I don't know. So I really have to pull from the grit to give it everything I got and ask everyone for help, which is not easy to do.
Yeah. Offline in our pre-conversation, you said a term, I wrote it down, physical literacy journey. I've heard of literacy, I've heard of financial literacy. I've never heard of physical literacy. So can you tell our audience what that's about?
Sure. So physical literacy is truly why children are enrolled, mandated in physical education classes, and now we found out that the physical literacy journey truly does start from early childhood, which is why we now engage with even just toddlers to try to get them as young as possible to make that positive association of I feel good when I move my body. So the difference in physical literacy is that you are intrinsically motivated, right? Because it all starts with the decision to actually work out and move your body. So you understand the values that you receive from engaging in physical activity are not just physical, there's mental and social benefits that you receive. So it's more of an educating the whole child just through that motor learning lens.
Yeah, that muscle memory, that motor learning, the rewards that happen from trying something, messing up, trying again, getting better at it, getting healthier, having more energy, having the brain work, all of those things. So when I want to address this grit thing a little bit more, because you said something about delayed gratification. And Tracy talked about the high-tech world of iPads and whatever, where a gratification is instant almost, right? We can boom.
On it now.
Yes. So how do we impart that sage wisdom about delaying gratification? Do we move the target where the reward system is longer and longer? How do you teach delayed gratification?
So it really truly starts with goal setting. They have to make, you don't move, we don't move the target for them. They have to create a target that's off in the distance themselves. Everything we do is very student-centered, exerciser-centered. So they pick a target. So when we do goal setting, if they can do 5 push-ups, they're going to set a goal of 10 so that we are still going to celebrate the benchmark of 7, but you're not at your goal yet. And that's okay. And so it really does start with the vision of wanting to achieve something that is not in the immediate forecast for you. And I definitely pull from that every single day as a franchisor. I got goals and vision boards, but it takes that grit to take the actions, right? I can't just look at my vision board and hope I get it. I have to have the grit to take every single day the steps to take the actionable small steps to get to the success. And we're teaching the same thing to children.
Yeah, wow. Sometimes you can't really, like, you see the detail, like, or the one step and the one step. Sometimes it's the reverse where you don't even see like what could be. And then in the long term, you can possibly build something even bigger than you imagined just because you're taking the day-to-day steps, right?
Yeah, and we do teach children. So if it's swim, they close their eyes and they picture themselves swimming across the pool, even if all we're going to do in that next drill is kicks, right? So because the reason is because visualization is a life skill. We teach our children, 365ers, to meditate because those are life skills. There's so much that comes in that physical literacy journey instead of just being the one who kicks the soccer ball in the net. And that's all the parents say, did you score? Did you, right? It's just that outcome. And so the difference in kid personal training, I would say, is sports is the outcome, the product, and kids personal training is the process.
I'm getting excited. I want to go do something physical. I got to get away.
You want to
Effect on people. It's called the Collins Kool-Aid. In case you're interested, it's so frequent people have titled it. They're like, oh, it's the Collins Kool-Aid. She's serving up the Collins Kool-Aid.
I just drank the Collins Kool-Aid for sure. So I have a question about obstacles in your life, or maybe lessons that you learned through obstacles and challenges that now has made you the leader that you are.
So you hit them every day, right? Overcoming challenges. I would say that a big one is hearing no, and you hear no a lot, and you have to be really proud that you heard no and grateful and thankful. So every time I hear no, I'm so thankful because I know that gets me closer to a yes. And originally I used to hear no and I would feel badly about myself. And I would think, oh my God, this person doesn't believe in me, or they don't realize I have what it takes. And I was offended. And now I'm not offended. I'm just like, thank you so much. And I just move on till I can get the next yes. You know, that no got me closer to a yes.
Wow. That's such a great point. I think a lot of people dwell in the no, but the fact that
And
I thank you for the no, and now that puts me one step closer to the yes.
yes. And I, you know, you can imagine being a phys ed teacher. We are often not believed to be the wisest, the most capable. So when you have success, not everyone is going to be clapping for you. Just like we teach our 365ers, though, you just clap so loud for yourself, you don't even notice who's clapping for you and who's not. And so, because oftentimes that will take away from their happiness, unfortunately, and that can tie directly to social media because they are looking for likes on their different right, and all of those algorithms. So we teach them to focus on, the people who are clapping for them, and most importantly, clap for yourself and don't worry about it.
For sure. So share with us the future, your future. Are you going to be the future phys ed advisor to the president? Are you going to be the mayor of your town? Tell us a little bit about what your future is about, and obviously what the future of Never Stop Moving 365 is going to be.
Sure. So because I practice visualization, I have it so crystal clear. We will get 1 million children active through Never Stop Moving 365, and we will be nationally known, but locally grown. And the first part of that starts with me completing my doctoral journey, which is a dissertation all around the joy of movement in children and what are the barriers and what is facilitating the joy of movement in children so that they engage in a physically active lifestyle, because we know that that's going to be how we address childhood obesity in the long term, is by fostering more competent and confident movers.
I just got the chills.
Me too. That was super clear.
It was super clear, and you're definitely going to hit that 1 million. for sure, if not more.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
Really amazing.
No
I
doubt.
love that quote that you just said, clap so loud for yourself that you don't notice who else is or is not clapping for you. Drop the mic. Is that an original quote?
I listen to so many amazing podcasts like yours. I can't be positive that I didn't pick that up from somewhere else. I've also said it for so long. It does sound like it's mine. I can tell you one that I know for sure is mine. And it's that when you impact a lifestyle, you impact a life. And so that's at the heart of everything we're doing. We are just striving to impact a lifestyle.
Nice.
So it reminds me of something I heard at a conference, a speaker, and he used a quote, something to this effect: the quality of one's life is the quality of their movement. So he connected, and much like you, this idea that if we stay physically active and we move our body, it doesn't just affect our body, it affects everything that we do in life. And it sounds like you share that belief, and not just sharing it, you're preaching it. You're providing the Collins Kool-Aid for children and for families. So, Christina, how would someone learn more about Never Stop Moving 365? How would they get hold of you and your team?
So the best place to get information would be over on our website, NeverStopMoving365franchise.com. It has a starting plan to get to the start line of the marathon, which is what owning a business is. It's a marathon. So we have the journey there, the 10 steps. If you're interested in coming on board and opening this in your community and making kids' personal training available in your community, and my direct email is Christina@NeverStopMoving365.com.
Perfect. Well, I got to tell you, um, I'm excited. I am going to be living vicariously through you. I am going to be observing every step of your journey. And I am going to be looking excitedly for the stories of lives that have been transformed. And knowing that as you transform those children, we're all, as a society, going to have a different world. So the ripple effect of what you're doing is huge, right? It's not just keeping children physically active and becoming physically literate. This is going to change society as a whole and address many, many issues, health issues, including mental health issues, obesity, etc., that we're dealing with in society right now. So I applaud your passion. I applaud your purpose. I am excited to see where things go. And I want to thank you for being part of our show today, Christina.
Thank you so much and have a fantastic day, everyone.
We will. And Tracy, I'm going to put things over to you for your final wrap up.
Well, Rebecca, I don't think that you should be sitting and observing
Oh,
what
yes, you're right. I need to
I
be
think you
moving
need to
along
be
with it.
watching. I think Christina would appreciate more if you were walking and
You're
watching
right.
every day instead of sitting and observing. But I think how you summed it up, Rebecca, was genius. That it's so true. That really hit the mark. There will be a ripple effect from what you're doing, Christina, and the work and the heart that you're putting into this. I love your passion for health and wellness. I really do. And the thing that really stood out to me is that you already have a successful business. You already have a proven model. You're already replicating yourself, sharing your knowledge, impacting communities, and you're still demonstrating with your actions by getting your PhD. You're still obtaining the knowledge to share so that you can have the credentials, even more credentials behind you, and shout from a larger platform.
Mhm.
Love that. I love, and that alone demonstrates the passion that you have for this area in this field. So everything that Rebecca said and more. Thank you so much for what you're doing for our future generations. Thank you.
You both.
So, and thank you to those that are listening in today to the Franchise Woman podcast, where passion and purpose collide, profits are made, and relationships forged. Make sure to like, comment, and share Christina Collins' interview today. And of course, we'll see you next week on another episode.